So this next question might be like extremely, extremely deep, but how do you think someone can have a millennial money mindset? Like, what can I
Wow,
do?
that is
Yeah,
deep. That is really
yeah.
deep. So what I talk about in the book is knowing how much is enough. So understanding how much is enough money to live on for the rest of your life. And for me, that was quite a big moment. That was kind of an epiphany moment. And working out essentially how many days you have left to live. So this is pretty deep. And this comes back to the Seneca book that I was talking about, this shortness of life. But if you understand, so I have a journal, I don't have it here, but essentially it sounds really nerdy, but like every year I write down how, if I live a good life, I live to 90 years old, like 90 minutes on the pitch. And I work out how many days I have left to live. And essentially each year I'm like, oh, I've got 365 less days to live. And it kind of means that that means I don't want to sit around watching TV for this day, because that's a day wasted. So essentially, if you work out how many days you have left to live, and then what your expenses, how much money do you need to live on, and then you can be, actually, you don't need that much to live on. You can work that out. Then you can write, that's how many days you are until you're financially independent. I'm not financially independent yet. I'm kind of on the journey myself. But once you understand that, then that's the kind of a mind shift change. You're like, right, I've only got a certain number of days until I'm financially independent. I've got enough money to live on for the rest of my life. I guess that's quite a powerful mindset that I realized when I was writing the book. What are
So
your thoughts on that?
yeah, so this is like a kind of like a budgeting technique, but like on steroids. Where, yeah.
Yeah,
So let's say like
exactly.
I'm 16 now, and if I lived a good life, you're saying 90 for you 90 years. I'll say for me also 90 years, which
So
means I have
yes,
74 years, and obviously I'm not earning now, but like if I have my expenses sorted, I can multiply that by like 74. And so then I
yeah.
know like this is how much I need to be financially independent.
But you don't, yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. And I was going to say, with compound interest, you don't actually need as much up to there, because once compound interest kicks in, you can actually, that's going to start working for you. So the number, I mean, this is kind of finger in the air kind of numbers, but like it's, if you have £650,000, which sounds like a lot of money, I agree, £600,000, you can have £24,000 paying you every year for the rest of your life. So you just need to get to that stage, £650,000, and that will pay you £24,000 until the rest of your life. If you make £1 million, which sounds also quite a lot of money, you can live, that will, if you take off 4%, if you take off 4% every year, imagine you're getting 4% back from the stock market, or you put money into bonds, or you're expecting a roughly 4% return, which is quite conservative. That's quite low risk. The average of a stock market is 8%. There's the American stock market, with including dividends. So you just need to get that to that point, and then you can live off that money for the rest of your life. So I've got a video on my YouTube channel, Millennial Money Mindset, just like how much is enough to reach FIRE. I don't know if you've heard of this movement called FIRE movement. So it's
No.
called Do Independence and Retire Early. There's a movement that it's quite big in the UK. It started in the States. There's a number of different people who started it. There's a guy called Mr. Money Mustache, and there's a number of different books. Just Google FIRE movement, and they talk a lot about this. And essentially, it's building up enough so you've got enough assets that will pay you an income for where you stop working. And that was quite a big mindset change for me. Does
So
that make
it's
sense?
yes, yeah. So it's kind of like a philosophical thing where like I'm sitting down and I'm earning money without actually working that much, like because of the compound interest that your investing
Yeah.
techniques and like your financial advice, which obviously you can't give, but like that gives you the opportunity to do other things with your life while you're like not actually needing to work.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole idea of, I mean, in the old days they called it retirement. So it's not necessarily a new idea. So in the UK, you would work all your life, and at the end of your working life, they called it an annuity. So essentially, you'd swap all those days you'd work, you'd get a guaranteed they'd work out, they'd call it a final salary pension. Essentially, you would work out this final salary pension, and then you would hit 65, they would give you a handshake, a carriage clock, and then you'd get this guaranteed income for life. So from 65 to whenever, you would get this guaranteed income for life. So it's not that people think this is kind of crazy. People, I've explained to people, and they think, no, that will never happen. That will never happen, Neil. But essentially, it used to happen. You know, you used to get a retirement, but this is today. That's you don't get these retirements anymore. You have to look after yourself. But if you just do simple things every day, especially if you're young, and build it up, then building up these assets, it's not that difficult. And essentially, there's a lot of tax incentive. I know I kind of mentioned tax incentives before, but in the UK, there's things like your pension. If you put in a pension, your company can also put in your company pension for you, and you get tax incentives. I'm sure there's different taxes. There's tax incentives in USA and Australia as well. They're just called different things. So if you use these tax incentives that many governments offer, they help you get to your goal quicker.
So I just thought of this like analogy, because I also like analogies, but it's kind of like, let's say I have an essay that's 4,000 words,
Yeah.
and it's due next. So this is like actually my life, where I have to write a 4,000 word essay by
Yeah.
next year. And so if I give myself a year, I have to write, I think, 11 words a day to meet that
Yeah.
4,000 word like quota, which seems like nothing. So that's like what you have done. Like you
Yeah.
broke it down to, like, for me, 74 years, where like I can save small amount of money, small amounts of money, where it eventually will build up to be like this massive sum, which could help me live my life comfortably. So that's amazing. I love this
Oh,
concept.
great.